Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says Pig to Human Heart. What is the context? David Bennett, a citizen of United States of America, became the first person to receive a heart transplant from a genetically modified pig. Where did it occur? It occurred in United States of America, where surgeons at the University of Maryland Medical Center transplanted the porcine heart into Mr. Bennett, who was suffering from terminal heart failure. This is where we come to understand a concept called as xenotransplantation. What is xenotransplantation? When a transplantation of a cell or a tissue or an organ happens between different species, that is what is called as xenotransplantation. So xenotransplantation is the process of transplanting organs or tissues between member of different species. In the present situation, what we had was a modified pig. Its heart was transplanted into a human being, which is why it is called as xenotransplantation. What is the need for xenotransplantation? Why should such a process occur? The main reason is we do not have enough number of organ donors. If we look into the statistics, nearly 4,000 people in the United States of America received human donor hearts, but that is not enough. We need far in excess. When we look into numbers as given by the Ministry of Health in India, around 0.8 million people in India are estimated to suffer from renal failure every year, but only about 6,000 renal transplants carried out in the country. This is in India. About 25 to 30,000 liver transplants are needed annually in India, but only about 1,500 are being performed. This is with respect to the liver. Then we have about 50,000 people who suffered from heart failure and there is need of heart transplantation. However, only 10 to 15 heart transplants are carried out in India each year. So what do we actually witness? There is a greater interest in transplantation because worldwide there is a greater shortage of human organs, tissues and cells which can be used for the human beings, which is why we need an alternative path, and that alternative path is what is called as xenotransplantation. Because we have a crunch of numbers, because we do not have enough number of people to donate the organs, what we have is crunch in numbers. This crunch in numbers has led us to what is called as xenotransplantation. So basically, xenotransplantation is transplantation that happens from one species into another species. In the present situation, it is from a pig to a human being. Now the question is, why is pig preferred? There are multiple species, we have multiple species, but why is pig selected for the xenotransplantation? That is because the pig is currently considered the most appropriate candidate because of its anatomical similarity, because of its physiological compatibility, breeding characteristics, and also for ethical reasons as well. Because it has the anatomical similarity with that of the human beings, pig happens to be the preferred species when it comes to xenotransplantation. Is this the first time that such an experiment is being conducted? No. Previous experiments were also conducted with the help of the pig as well. When we go back to the month of September in 2021, surgeons at the New York University Langone Health Medical Center transplanted a kidney of a genetically modified pig into a brain dead person. The similar such attempt was also carried out on November 22nd, 2021 on a person maintained on a ventilator. Why was such attempts being undertaken by the scientists? That is because human body by its design may not accept other species and its organs. To understand whether the species organs can be transplanted into the human beings, what genes have to be inactivated, what new genes have to be activated, whether human genes will have to be imported into the other species genome sequence, all of this will have to be tested, which is why doctors had conducted such an experiment. So this is not for the first time that an experiment is being conducted in such a way. Previous experiments have also been conducted so that they are able to understand how this transplantation from one species to another works on the human beings. So in the present situation, when there was xenotransplantation that happened from the pig species to the human species, the scientists had to tweak the pig genome as well. Some of the genes were inactivated. About 6 human genes were inserted into this particular transplantation process, and as a result, multiple changes were introduced during this particular process. So basically, such changes are introduced in one of the species so that it does not have repercussions or negative implications on the human beings. Added to it, we also know for the fact that whenever there is a species, the species can also house number of bacteria, viruses, so on and so forth. When it comes to the DNA of the pig, they also contain retroviruses as well. So when such retroviruses are present, and when that particular species organ is being transplanted into the human beings, the same retrovirus can also harm the human beings as well. So dozens of retroviruses had to be removed from the pig in order to make it safer when transplanted into the human beings. In order to help us ensure that all this process is implemented, what we have is a tool called as CRISPR Cas9, where this CRISPR Cas9 was used to precisely remove a specific gene, insert a specific gene, so that the negative implications will not occur from the species to the human beings. So what are the advantages of xenotransplantation? Basically, the advocates of xenotransplantation say that because we now have the animals, they argue that we would be able to save number of lives on the earth. So we have the organ donation crunch. We do not have enough people who are making organ donations, and as a result, if we are exploring the other tools that are present in science, what we would be able to do is save number of human beings. Eligible recipients would also receive the transplantation much earlier if their illness is also identified, and at the same time they need not have to go through the pain that they have been suffering all this while. So these are the advantages of xenotransplantation. However, there are some ethical concerns as well. What are these ethical concerns? This comes from the animal activists. According to animal activists, they say, is it ethically acceptable to breed animals and use these animals as organic spare parts? Just like we are producing mechanical parts which is required for the car, the animals are being exploited where it is being used as organic spare parts. Such is what is leading to animal rights violation, where Mother Earth treats every being equally on Earth, but it is the human being who is acting in superiority complex, destroying every other animal. So, is it ethically accept to breed animals and use them as organic spare parts? Is the first question. The second question is about cross species infection. Let's say, for example, we have the swine flu. Let's say, for example, it also has number of retroviruses. They might have removed these retroviruses, but we do not know what could happen in the near future. This means that initially the scientific community may assume that it will not cause negative implications on the human beings. But once inserted, what if there are negative implications? What if the person has number of other problems, side effects? Are the scientific community culpable to this particular process? Is the human being who was promised that he would not be going through any of this pain has to now endure this particular pain? So it means originally it was not envisaged to have the side effects, but because we do not know what could happen, this person is bound to suffer. So the second is, humans do not have the immunity to the viruses that originate in the animals, but because the scientific community has promised, the person might have given consent to it, and now after the consent is given, it is the person who may face the consequences, is the second major issue. The third major issue is with respect to the viruses. We know for the fact that COVID-19 is one of the infection of the rich. What exactly happens? Because it is the people who travel from one continent to another, one country to another. These are the people who spread the COVID-19 virus from one country to another. So it is the infection of the rich, but every person is bound to suffer. What is going to happen in the xenotransplantation? Since it is a long drawn process, since a lot of scientific community engages in this particular process, it will be an expensive one. What if, since it is an expensive one, it will only be used by the rich community? Why? Because the poor community or the poor young people may not be able to afford this particular zero transplantation. And as a result, because of this expensive process, only the rich would be able to use this entire process, reap the advantage of it, and not the poor people. As we also discussed, a species may house number of viruses which may not be seen by the scientific community. But what if this new organ is transplanted into a human beings, and from the single human being it is also spread to the entire community? If it spreads to the entire community, who is going to face the losses? It is the human community who is not given consent to it also has to suffer. So there is a larger experiment that is being undertaken. So going forward, it is not only the consent of the individual that needs to be taken into picture, but the community will also have to give the consent. Is the ethical dilemma. So on one side, yes, life does matter. That person may be going through a lot of pain, that will also be taken care of. There is also an other side where animals are bred like the organic spare parts, and at the same time there can be infection spread to that particular person, and it may also harm the larger community as well. These are some of the concerns when it comes to the xenotransplantation. So harvesting of organs from the genetically engineered species is seen as a viable alternative to meet the organ shortages. However, scientific validation have to be done, and over a period of time there has to be a constant check to see if there are any side effects to that individual and also to the community. If such side effects are present, the same individual will have to be isolated, and all the negative repercussions will have to be stopped at the preliminary stage. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says, has the process to measure TRP improved? The article here is speaking about television rating point. What is this TRP or the television rating point? It represents how many people are watching a particular program, are watching a particular channel for how long and for a specific period of time. Such data will be collected, calculated, and ultimately we have the Broadcast Audience Research Council, which will release weekly what is called as the TRPs or the television rating point. In simple terms, anyone who watches television for more than a minute is considered a viewer of that particular channel and the program. This will be calculated, and ultimately which viewer views which channel for a longer period of time, that will be calculated. The same will be presented, and that is what is called as TRP ranking. Let's say for example at 9 o'clock we have something called as prime time at all news channels. So you might have about 45,000 households. These households are embedded with what is called as the barometers. These barometers will clearly help us identify which channel they might be watching at 9 p.m., which deals with prime time with multiple news channels. So the data would be collected, this data would be telecasted, and ultimately we would be able to figure out which viewer is watching which channel at what time, and such data will give the advertising agencies as well as other sponsors of a particular program to invest in a particular channel. So basically, why is the TRP important? The TRP is important because it is used as a metric by the marketing and the advertising agencies, so that they would be able to sponsor their program or an ad at a particular time in that particular channel. So basically, better rating for a program and a channel basically means that sponsors and ad agencies would be able to push their ad on a particular channel, and at the same time poor rating also means that they will discourage such a program. So the advertising rates for a particular program and a channel are determined by what is called as the television rating agency. Who does all the calculation? This entire calculation is done by the Broadcast Audience Research Council. So remember, this happens to be an industry body jointly owned by advertisers, ad agencies, broadcasting companies that are represented by the Indian Society of Advertisers, the Indian Broadcasting Foundation, and the Advertising Agencies Association of India. And this happens to be the world's largest television audience measurement service. What would happen? As we all know, TRP does not mean that they will collect information from every household. Do you have people coming up to your houses and asking you which channel you're watching? No. What would happen? There would be a selective number of houses. Let's say, for example, about 45,000 or 1 lakh. An approximate number of households would be selected. What would happen? You would have the Broadcast Audience Research Council, which will have what is called as barometers. These barometers will be installed in the television of about 45,000 to 1 lakh. These are the selected households in different parts of the country representing different socio-economic conditions. So a house will be selected, these barometers will be inserted into their TV, and what they watch will be calculated by these barometers. So basically it is not all households in India, but instead selective households will have all these barometers installed in their TV, and this barometer will identify which channel they are watching, which program they are watching, at what time, for what period. All of this will be taken up, and after this, different survey groups will be appointed by the Broadcast Audience Research Council. It will not be one single group, but instead different groups will be given out, and these groups will have to go to this particular household, collect this information, and ultimately give it back to the Broadcast Audience Research Council. So the Broadcast Audience Research Council will ultimately give out this information on a weekly basis, which will ultimately point out which channel and which program has the highest rating, which is called as the television rating point. Why are we discussing all this? That is because there was allegations or a scam that was involved back in the year 2020, according to the Mumbai police. According to Mumbai police, what happened? There were few channels, they had tied up with few agencies that were appointed by the Broadcast Audience Research Council. They knew which household had these barometers, and they were able to influence those people to watch a particular program. So basically there was an understanding between the people, the agency, and the news channels and those channels, and ultimately they were able to rig these issues, and the TRP was violated as well. After this TRP racket was discovered, there was suspension of the TRPs, and now the Information and the Broadcasting Ministry has asked the Broadcast Audience Research Council to resume the release of television rating point, also known as the target rating point. It had suspended back in the year 2020. Now there will be continuation of the TRP, and ultimately weekly ones will be given. So why are these ratings important? As we just discussed, the marketing and the advertising agencies would be able to identify which program has the highest viewership, so that they can put out their ads in that particular program. But if it is changed, if it is rigged, what would happen? It is these marketing and the advertising agencies which will suffer a tremendous loss, and as a result the governance in media will also suffer as well. In order to overcome this particular issue, the BARC should appoint an oversight mechanism and should make sure that there is induction of independent members into its fold, so that they would be able to assess this entire data without any fabrication or without any manipulation. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says 5 dead in suspected Hooch tragedy. So this article here is speaking about Hooch. What is Hooch here? Hooch stands for illicit liquor or the spurious liquor. So liquor that is country made, liquor that is not given licensed by the government officials, liquor that is made indirectly, not given permission by the government, is what is called as Hooch. So remember, illicit liquor, spurious liquor, not given permission by the government, which happens underground, is what is called as Hooch, which is also called as illicit liquor, and this is also called as spurious liquor. When it comes to the legal production of liquor, it at least takes 10 days for the production of the liquor. So what would happen if permission is given by the government of a respective state or by the government of India, and if there is production of alcohol, then what would happen? It will at least take 10 days to produce this liquor to complete this entire process of fermentation. However, if it is illicit liquor, it is produced just within 24 hours. So such production which happens within 24 hours, where all the due process is not followed, is what is called as illicit liquor. So the time taken in the production is what determines the quality of this particular liquor. But since it is produced within 24 hours, and this is without the permission of the government, the quality of this particular alcohol will be deteriorated, and at the same time it will not meet the standards as prescribed by the government. And if people consume such illicit liquor, what we will see is impacting their health. In fact, this can also lead to death of an individual as well. What makes it poisonous? We have something called as the methanol. The methanol is essentially a toxic industrial standard. If it is used or produced by a legal process where it is fermentation for a 10 days, it will be of minimal quality. But if it is not produced by a legal process, the methanol may be added by these people so that it can give that tipsy effect. So if it is produced naturally and if it is able to meet the required standards, it will not be a problem. But since it is added by these people who manufacture illicit liquor, what would happen? This would increase the potency of the liquor, and at the same time this can also reduce the cost of the liquor manufacturing. And at the same time, if they are consumed by the people, that is what is going to cause harm to their health. So basically, industrial methyl alcohol or denatured spirit is added into the alcohol to save the cost and also give the tipsy effect as well. And when this is consumed by the people, it can have negative implications on the people. So the person who consumes this illicit alcohol, methanol gets absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract of the person drinking it, and it may harm that individual. In the extreme cases, methyl alcohol can also cause blindness, and it can also lead to death as well. How does the distribution of the hooch take place? Basically, what would happen? You would have the genuine bottles. These genuine bottles, which are licensed by the government of India or by the respective states, their bottle and their label may be refilled with the spurious liquor. This is how the distribution takes place. Or the packaging can be a counterfeit in itself, or there can also be forged tax stamps as well. So the distribution with respect to these spurious alcohol can happen when there is a standard label that is present in the branded bottles. So these branded bottles are refilled with illicit alcohol, or there can be a counterfeit packaging, or a forged tax stamps can also be put on these bottles so that selling can be taken up in a particular state. But why does this keep happening every now and then in the state of Bihar? That is because liquor was banned in Bihar back in the year 2016 by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar ji. Despite the prohibition, spurious liquor continues to kill number of people. That is because there are laws in India, but these laws are not being implemented. That's the first major problem. And there is underground market or the black market. In fact, these laws are able to not stop the black market, and at the same time, because people also want it, this is another root cause as to why black market is able to sustain itself. So on one side there are laws, these laws are not being implemented rigorously, or there might be loopholes in the system. There is black marketing that is taking place, and in fact people are also wanting to drink as well, booze as well, which is why there is existence of such a spurious illicit market. How do we overcome this particular issue? Government has to regulate the sale of industrial alcohol and excise more vigilant, because when it comes to adding of methanol or industrial methyl alcohol or denatured spirit, this has to be regulated by the government of India. We have number of awareness schemes and programs when it comes to tobacco. So similar such aggressive awareness campaigns will also have to be done when it comes to liquor. So people should be made aware of what could be the damage that illicit liquor will have on their body, and ultimately the same will have to be promoted by making use of the brand ambassadors as well. Celebrities will also have to be roped in, religious heads will also have to be roped in. So raising consumer awareness, improving the accessibility for the legal products, and promoting alternative sources is the need of the hour. So the government should come up with aggressive campaigns on the problems of liquor abuse along the lines what has been done with tobacco in the present situation. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says, why is India challenging WTO verdict on sugar? This has been explained day before yesterday in our explain session, so kindly look into it. Now let's look into the next article. This article says, is vaccination limiting Omicron's virulence? The article here is from page 11. It belongs to GS paper 2 and belongs to the health issues. And remember, we have discussed about this issue couple of times, so we need not have to go through this article. Now let's look into the mains practice questions. What do you understand by xenotransplantation? Discuss the safety, ethical and regulatory issues associated with xenotransplantation. Highlight the various ways that illicit alcohol gets distributed in India and suggest remedial measures to tackle the ill effects. So please write all your answers on the comment section. Peer review, do give positive feedback to your friends' answers. If you wish to upload an image, you can also visit our website and upload the image of your answer as well. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.